It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
Catching your stride.
That's right.
10 to 20 years. Okay. Moment of confession here.
I feel like the lights just went dim and all got quiet.
Here's the truth. First 2 years of marriage, little rocky. Well, why? Because a lot of transition. Remember scrubbing toilet bowls. I mean, it's hard figuring out who's scrubbing the toilet bowls. So first 2 years, because you're used to being on your own and now you're married, you do some give and take. Fast forward, things are good again, but then you hit that 7-year itch, and you feel like communication's breaking down. Maybe your soup pot is the temperature went down a little more than you wanted it to, and you're trying to get the heat back up. So you make it through but then you get it right, and that gets fixed. You go, maybe you need to go talk to somebody. You get that fixed, and you make it through the 7-year itch. Then you hit this catching your stride. God, I got to tell you, I don't remember. I do remember, but it just went by so fast. I just had my 21st wedding anniversary, and I told my wife, I was like, it doesn't feel like we've been married that long. It just doesn't, because I feel like years 8 through 20
just flew by.
It was a blink of the eye. And there's a lot of stuff that happened, but it is one of those things where, and it makes sense, because think about it, in your 20s, you're just starting your career. It's kind of a struggle. You don't make a ton of money.
Change.
Yeah, you don't make a lot of money either. You're trying to figure out where you are in the world. You're trying to figure out your career. And then you throw kids on top of that, and that's like, you already got chaos, and then you throw kids in there, and then you got all these life goals you're trying to accomplish, like buy houses, get set up, and transition. It's finally, this is probably by the time you're catching your stride, you are probably getting somewhere to where you can come up for air. It just feels like the basics are covered and you can come up for air.
Sure.
You got a little more breathing room. That's probably why. Plus the kids are now feeding themselves. They're not pooping on themselves anymore. They're actually, go to bed at night. They, take baths. So the kids get easier and you can focus on your spouse more. So that's probably why. Let's talk about Daniel's divorce stats. Look at a different Grim Reaper picture. Bo, what's the stat here that Daniel came up with?
Yeah, so he said after year 10, there's actually a significant drop in the risk of divorce. So once you can make it through the first decade, it drops off. And then it says that by year 20, the chance of divorce is actually 1 in 8. So
that's pretty incredible. So that means
percentage.
that's 12%. If you do the math on that. So
in your head.
Okay, so remember I'm in this phase. So I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. That means 88% chance that
it's going to work out.
My poor wife, because I'm never worried about me leaving. I'm worried making sure I'm keeping her, because I'm a weird cat. You got to put up with a lot of stuff when you're married to me. So it's kind of nice knowing that stat's working out. So let's talk about traps to avoid. Here's the first big one, because realize you've been married for a while by now. When you're 10 to 20 years into this, the first trap that you should try to avoid is not creating a vision plan for the future. You're kind of just stuck. You're sleepwalking.
I think you say all the time, people at this age range that this generally falls into, they just kind of get stuck in letting life sort of happen. And you said, just like you said, you blinked and the last 10, 12 years flew by. If you didn't actually have a plan in place to make sure you were charting the correct course, you could wake up one day and say, oh my goodness, where are we? We haven't even thought about retirement, and now we're halfway there.
We've done shows on what you should, 401k balance by age, net worth by age. I'm always amazed, because the average 401k balance, for a 40 to 49-year-old is $102,000.
Yeah.
It's crazy. 30 to 39-year-olds, it's $42,000. It's just a lot of people. Those numbers seem a lot lower than they should be. I would rather, if you go to sleep or just enjoy, you set your life up on autopilot. I'd rather you set your life up on autopilot in a good way through that automated plan where you might not remember every year and everything that happened, but if you set up your cash management plan where you are saving that 20 to 25% automatically through an automatic savings plan, you're gonna wake up in the future and go, whoa!
How did we build all this?
This is great. And that's going to lead to some really healthy conversations in a good way down the road. So you're not sleepwalking and waking up one day and going, "Whoa, I'm in trouble. I'm really behind." Hopefully, you get to wake up and go, "Man, I'm blessed. This thing is going really well." So make sure you're understanding. And this is also the phase. Since you are coming up fair, you can talk about forced scarcity. This is why, as you're getting those pay raises, you are squeezing more into savings, more into paying down debt quicker, so that you never feel completely comfortable because you're always challenging yourself financially.
Exactly right.
So the next thing, the other trap to avoid is lifestyle creep. And this works perfectly well. I was just talking about lifestyle creep and keeping up with the Joneses.
I think one of the things that happens is that at this stage you do get to come up for air. Things have calmed down. You kind of look around and say, oh, well, he has this and she has that and they have this. And you start thinking, oh, well, they have it, I should have it. I should be able to go do the things that they're doing. And you do start trying to keep up with the folks around you.
It's I have a daughter in high school. And, looking back on my life, I look back at high school years, you don't realize how materialistic high schoolers are. I mean,
until you have a high schooler.
It just brought back memories, because I know in high school there was this phase where the clothes you wore, the car you drove, that was very important. Mm-hmm. You could potentially even date somebody outside of your punk coverage if you had some of those things working for. Fast forward, went to college. I felt like, even though I was one of the poorer kids at college, I felt like as long as my personality and the intelligence were there, I didn't feel like not having money hurt me that much. Now, so there was I saw really rich kids in college, but I felt like it was a little more level playing field. It was more on how well your EQ skill set. But then you get a little older, get married, you get in this phase where you buy into a neighborhood. Now it is more back on how big's your house, what type of car do you drive, what type of vacations, what private schools do your kids go to. Yep. All these things can really put a lot of pressure on you to expand and keep up. I even saw a stat the other day where there's a lot of kids right out of school, college, that are getting in financial trouble because they're trying to recreate the lifestyle their parents had created. Yeah. And they have nowhere near it. So guys, don't let lifestyle creep of keeping up with the Joneses ruin your financial life, because that's not healthy.
I think you said the biggest thing you can do there is you just have to know what you value and what brings you happiness, and pursue those things, not the things that you perceive make you look like you're happy. I think that's a great way to wrap that up.
Let's talk about indicators of success. So the first thing on indicators of success is where you're going with your financial life. This is, and the easy question you can ask yourself is, do you have a financial plan?
Yeah, if you are someone who just woke up and you said, oh my gosh, here I am, have you thought about, okay, well, here I am, do I know where I want to be in the next 20 years? Because this isn't exactly the halfway point, but for a lot, of folks it kind of is. When you think about a 40-year working career, you're hitting the crest of that hill.
Yeah, 10 to 20 years. I mean, you're not, look, I just made it through, I'm at 21 years. I'm still young, but I'm not a spring chicken
That's
anymore.
right. Yeah, that's exactly right. So
I'm probably getting to eating age.
If you don't, did you just say eating age?
I said spring chicken. So, I'm getting hungry. We've been doing quite a few podcasts today, and I haven't eaten in a while.
So I think just a big indicator of success is that you and your spouse in your marriage, you both know where you're headed. Hey, we do want to pursue financial independence. We do want to be able to send our kids to college. We do want this kind of lifestyle retirement. And these are the steps that we're taking moving there.
Yeah, in your life, you have career figured out, you probably have family, and you're working with purpose. There's a reason you wake up in the morning. This is the next one, is you wake up in the morning, you're excited about where you're going. I know it sounds crazy, but there are just too many people, in my view, that are unhappy when they go to work.
Yeah, it's sad. It's
really
sad.
I don't want you. If you're chewing fingernails on Sunday night, something's probably not quite right in your life, and I challenge you to kind of work on that.
And if that's the case, if you are someone who hates your job and just can't, there's a chance that's going to bleed home. There's a chance that's going to come home with you, and it's going to affect your marriage. So you just need to think about where you are. Make sure you're happy where you are.
Glass half full perspective. You probably, at this point in your career, you've got 10,000 hours, so you're an expert in your field. This is the stage where you could probably make some changes and be able to recover from a risk capacity standpoint. You have time on your side. So if you're upset at work, you said it. It is one of those things that carries with you. You still want to make sure, is everything simmering? Is that heat? It's back to that passion. Are you keeping that pot where there's some flame on that pot to make sure the marriage? Because at 10 to 20 years, you want to make sure you're not taking each other for granted at this point.
Well, and Brian, you've said this to me all the time. You're at that stage where you have, your kids are getting the age where like college is like on the horizon and stuff. They're going to leave the house, and it's going to be you and your wife again. And you better make sure that thing is still simmering, because when the kids aren't there, you kind of look around like, all right, well, what are we going to do now, right? It matters.
So have a plan. One of my favorite things is my wife and I have a travel kind of bucket list.
Okay.
And we do it, treat it as a date night. So have a special, date night where you can talk about your travel wish list, because that's fun to talk about. Daydreaming
Love it.
and anticipation is good. If you need counseling, don't ever be scared to go talk to somebody and make sure that communication's working well between you, and even try hobbies and cooking classes. There's all kind of fun. I mean, one of my favorite things I'm doing right now I consider almost like a midweek date night. We do some of those food boxes.
Oh, they like send you the
I get
ingredients
2 meals
and
a
all
week, and then 2 nights a week. And it varies every week because the kids are doing a gazillion things, but we cook together. It's fun.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
I turn on some music and we cook. It is a lot of fun, and I think those are powerful things for keeping the marriage energized. So let's talk about the tools. First thing, I mean, it's us. We resemble this one.
That's right.
Fee only fiduciary. That's a big word, and it's a powerful word. Financial planner. You want a fee only financial planner that works in your best interest, which is a fiduciary.
It's really interesting when we look at because we do analytics on the type of folks we work with and the types of clients we have. It's really interesting. A lot of the folks that we work with fall into this age range. Now, they may or may not have been married for this exact amount of time, but for the folks that are married for 10 to 20 years, that's kind of the folks who actually do come see us. It's a great point in your life to start thinking about what does the plan look like and how do I begin putting that plan in place.
I like you. This is a thread. A trend here. Annual net worth statement. Guys, I started doing it when I was 31 years old. I'm mad I didn't do it when I was 21 years old.
And what I think is great, since you started at 31, yours has gone less from this like hypothetical thing you're thinking about. Now yours is almost like a treasure map, and you can see how far you've come so far, right? It's almost like you can track the journey.
You like that I'm willing to share it with you too, so you can play
absolutely.
who's doing
then
well
I get to
compared
check where
to
I
what.
was back then.
And this is another repeat, but I think it's very important. Adequate insurance, disability, umbrella, all your risk, life insurance, all your risk are covered. Nobody is going to be hurt if by some chance that Tuesday afternoon goes bad. So pay attention to those things.